Hi, and welcome to my channel where I love to do all types of DIYs, everything from home updating projects to budget-friendly DIY home decor. If these are things you're interested in, then I hope you will consider hitting that subscribe button and become part of my DIY family. All right, I've got this baseball that we found out in our backyard area. We've got a ball field back there, so we tend to find quite a few baseballs and softballs. But I'm going to start by taking it and painting it with Summer Crush, and this is from DIY, and I end up giving it about 3 coats. And then I'm just going to go over it with some clear wax, also from DIY, and I am going to cover that completely. And then once I get that on, I am going to take some brown wax, and I'm using Best Dang Wax by Dixie Belle. And I'm just going to kind of splotch it on there with my brush, and then I'm just going to take a towel and just kind of buff it in. Just wanted to give it a little bit more of a rustic appearance. And I went ahead and cut a face with my Cricut machine, and that's just because I did not feel like trying to tackle this free-handed again. So I thought I'd just make it simple. Cut me out a stencil, and when I rub it on there, this round surface is a little tricky to work with. I just try to get the stencil on there. I don't even know if I needed to use this transfer sheet. I probably could have just peeled it off like a sticker and put it on there, but I did go ahead and get it on there. And you see how it just lifts right back up. So the trick to it is, since it's a rounded surface, just kind of hold like one of the areas that you're going to paint, just kind of hold it down and then stencil on your paint. And then you're going to see when I move to the next eyeball, I just kind of move my fingers over and hold that stencil down. And then I'm just going to place that stencil right back down where I want the nose and stencil that color in. And before I move on to the mouth, I'm just going to take a blast of heat, just make sure that what we just put on there is dry, just so I don't smudge it. And then I'm going to reposition that stencil, holding down where the mouth is, and just stencil in that paint. And then I just needed to touch up a few little areas with that Summer Crush color. I just noticed I had a couple little white dots. But after that, paint dries, I'm going to go ahead and take some wax. And I believe I just used the regular white wax. And I just go over where we painted on the face just to make sure that it's not going to flake off. And next I've got this fabric, and I'm just going to cut 1-inch strips, and my strips measured 7.5 inches long, and I really guess that doesn't matter how long they are as long as they're not any shorter, because if they're longer you can always trim it off. But I'm just going to cut several of those strips off. Okay, the 2 unfolded side, the 2 ends. And then just take the hole, pull it through, tighten it up. Hold the 2 ends when you pull it through. Grab the bottom opening, that is now the bottom opening, and pull them through. Easy peasy, and just do that all the way around until you meet back up with the first area that you started at. Now when you get to the end, you're going to have that little raised piece sticking up, and I didn't want anybody to cut themselves on it. So I just took one strip and tied it around that area in a double knot. And then I took one more piece right next to between that piece that we just tied and the last piece we just did before that, right in the center of them, and then just put one more piece in there. All right, I've got this Dollar Tree hat. I believe it came like 3 to a package maybe, in the green and the orange, and they were on a stick. And of course you see how this is going along. So I'm just gonna finish pulling that part off. And just, you can save it, toss it, whatever you feel like doing with it. And then I am going to see about taking this bottom off because I'm going to use it as a template to give it a new cover. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I've got some burlap right here. And we are going to need 2 pieces. So might as well just fold that in half. Take that. And then I'm just going to use a Sharpie and I'm going to trace out where I'm going to cut. And then we're just going to cut that out. And when I go to cut that centerpiece out, I just fold it in half and just trim it out that way. So this next part is going to be a little hard for me to explain, so just pay attention. I figured I needed to cover this with that burlap, this little plastic piece that's left from the hat we took apart. And I figured to make sure I had enough fabric that it would kind of roll around it, I would just use my Sharpie and move that cone piece around and just trace that out and cut that out. Now the one thing I wish I would have done was, when I went to cut it, was allow for maybe a little bit over that line, maybe about 1/4 of an inch or so, maybe even just 1/8 of an inch. But you're going to want a little bit of overhang so you can tuck it into that cone. Okay, I'll start by gluing one edge to the cone, and then I'm just going to kind of tuck in that excess that I have there at the bottom and just kind of wrap that burlap around and use some hot glue to secure it. And I'm going to trim just a little bit off the edge just to kind of get some of the pieces that were coming out of there just kind of straightened up. And use some more hot glue and then just roll that onto the hot glue. And if I would have left just a little bit extra, I would have had that little section exposed. I would have been able to just kind of tuck all around that opening, the rim of that opening. I hope this makes sense. You can see what I'm doing there and where it came up a little bit short, but it works out. Next, I'm just going to apply some hot glue to the felt piece that we tore off of the hat originally. And then on each side, I'm going to go ahead and glue on my burlap pieces. Just pat on the burlap pieces. You can see there where when I wiped, some of those strands came out, exposing some of that black. A little bit more than I would have liked, but I did find a way to cover it up. But the smartest thing would have been was to make that the bottom part of the hat instead of the top part of the hat. But you see what I'm talking about. Then I'm just going to take some hot glue to the bottom of the cone and put that right in the center of the circle piece. I'm just going to take a little bit of twine, tie it on the top of his hat. And then I've got some of these little paper sunflowers, and I'm just going to take one of those and hot glue it right over my little boo-boo where too much of that felt was exposed. And then I'm going to take some hot glue, and we are going to go ahead and put the hat on top of the pumpkin head. All right, we got that rusty, crusty spring. I am not going to glue that. I'm not really going to glue anything to the spring because whoever buys it from me, if they want to change the spring up, nothing's glued. All they have to do is untie it, take the ball off, and they can upcycle it to whatever they want. But I think that's adorable. I want to make a little label for his neck. I've got some just resume paper. I've had this stuff for years. Just gonna rough up the edges a little bit with my paper scissors. Next, I'm just going to take this pad of distressed oxide, and I am just going to distress this piece of paper by patting that stuff pretty much all over. And you can do as little as much. Heck, you can even use a different kind of paper if you want. This is just for some inspiration. And then I've just got this little safety pin, and I am going to spray that with a clear coat. Dry it down and don't touch it because it's hot. I know, duh, it's hot. You just use a heat gun on it. So just be careful. Now going back to that piece of paper, I'm just going to kind of crinkle it up a little bit just to make it look even more aged. And then I'm just going to take a white marker and I'm just going to write boo on it. And I do end up going over this about 3 or 4 times to get that white to brighten up. Now I was trying a bunch of different methods to try to get that safety pin to look kind of rusty, and I found the best way is to take a color like burnt umber from Apple Barrel and paint that safety pin with that. I had some cinnamon here, so I would also dip my brush in some cinnamon and put that on with the burnt umber, kind of giving it the texture that the rusty crusties have. And once that safety pin is dried, I'm just going to take it and pin that piece of paper to the fabric on the pumpkin. Oh, I love this. This is awesome, y'all. Look what you can do with the old, rusty, crusty, freaking bed spring. Look at that. If you like rustic, if you like recycling, if you like saving the planet, oh, if you like any of those things, then this is awesome. This just makes the cutest. What do you guys think about that? Okay, so gonna do the rest of this video a little different. I'm just gonna show you some quick and easy things you can do with these coil springs, bed springs. I guess if you wanted to get a coil spring off of a vehicle, you could. It'd just be really big and chunky. But these bed springs, especially if you like primitive decor, farmhouse decor, these make the perfect bases for any piece. And sticking with the fall, I've got some of these little pumpkins on a stick. Pick these up from the Dollar Tree, and you can just put those right in these springs. And that would be just the cutest little shelf sitter. Isn't that not fantastic? Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And we got another one here. We can do some florals. Just put those in there. I like to leave a little bit of the greenery on the bottom just to bring that down a little bit. Fluff it out however you think it looks pretty. And you've got the adorable shelf sitter. I mean, isn't that gorgeous? All right, what else? We've got a pick here. Throw that pick on in there. And ta-da! See how easy? You don't have to get all fancy with painting and stamping and decoupaging all the time, because we know doing stuff like that is fun. So we can't just quit it. But find just some pieces, some old pieces that would look beautiful. Just add it in there. I mean, oh, I love it. And let's see, take another spring, take some more fall florals. And I had trimmed these off to make it look like the flowers were all falling off. The leaves are changing colors. We're just gonna shove that on in there. And then we'll put a little bit of color in there. Just the one surviving flower for the fall. And isn't that gorgeous? I love it. I think it's just so freaking beautiful. And since we're not gluing anything in these springs, you can reuse them for Christmas, Easter, anything, which I will be doing some more for Christmas. So make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell. That way YouTube will notify you whenever I upload a new video, because you don't want to miss the Christmas one. Isn't that pretty? And then I got one more. And found this rusty orange color tree at the Dollar Tree. And I love orange. I love anything orange. I love all shades of orange, especially this rusty orange in the fall. And I love it. I love it just about as much as I love the teals. But if you wanted to, you could take that base off, that little wooden base, and pop it down in there, and you'd have just a little Christmas tree riser. Or these fit perfectly inside the spring that I've got. And oh my gosh, is that not adorable? My cat thinks it's adorable. But yes, so there we have that. Now, I've got some pieces that I have bought off of Whatnot. And if you're not familiar with Whatnot, it's like an auction show where you can go on and you can place bids for items that people are selling. And it is Whatnot. I'll have that right up here. And I have a Whatnot channel, which I try to go on every Friday, about 6:30 in the evening, Central Time. And so make sure you go and checking out Whatnot. I have some links in the description box. The links will bring you to my page on Whatnot, and you can follow me. And I'll also click, if you've never shopped there before or made a purchase, I'll click a $15 savings offer in my description box. But I had picked up these little teal color pails. I mean, they're nothing, oops, sorry, my dog hit the camera. They're nothing rusty or anything about it. I love these colors for fall. Love them.
And sorry, I gotta get my cat to move. But we don't have to get all fancy with them, especially if you like the colors of them already. Let's just take some little pieces of floral that I trimmed up, place them in there. And it's ready to set on a shelf somewhere. Or if you don't like flowers, you can take some leaves. We've got some of these beautiful leaves. We'll just take some of those. Pop those on in there. And look at that, bucket full of leaves. Now I had gotten these little baskets on Whatnot. And they weren't very expensive when I purchased them. You just never know. Some places might be too expensive. Other people are, it's like they're giving it away. So you just kind of learn where you want to shop, your favorite people are. But I picked up these little baskets. Are those not cute? Look at this one with the wheels, this little wagon. I love them. I'm going to be selling these on my Whatnot show after I upcycle them. I've got this little pick here. We're just going to throw that in one. Look at that. Isn't that adorable? Who says we need to get all fancy? We don't need to get all fancy schmancy. Just a little bit of color goes a long way. I'm going to rob my bucket of one of these flowers. But I've got some of these little buffalo check pumpkins. I think those will look cute in the ones in the little wagon. Just gonna throw those in there. And look at that. It's just so cute. You can put some floral foam in these to help those stick in a little bit better. Or just do what I did and just throw them in there, set them on a shelf, forget about it until it's time to change out your decor. But that is adorable. And then my little round one, I've got one of these little sisal pumpkins that I picked up. They were on a stick. I just trimmed the stick down a little bit. I'm just going to throw that in there. You could throw some like little pieces of greenery. I bet I got something. Let's see. Got some little pieces of greenery you can always just kind of put in there. And look at that. Just the cutest little shelf sitter. All right. I'm going to do a finale after I get done speaking, showing you all of them. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Make sure you hit that notification bell so whenever I upload a new video, YouTube will notify you of that, because I am going to have some more coming out for Christmas with these springs. And I hope you guys, again, have a fantastic week. And thank you so much. Mwah. Till next time. Bye-bye.